I see it like breathing.
Yeah.
I see creativity like a breathing thing. Like you have to breathe in to be able to breathe out. After a while, like your creative well kind of runs dry, and it's like, well, I don't want to create when I'm not inspired.
Yo, what is good, creatives? Welcome to the Creative Inspired Corner, where I, your host, Coriel, interview creatives from around the world, often share their stories and give you the creative inspo you need so you can go on and create to inspire. And you're only I'm super excited today. I'm here with Jonathan Ogden. Jonathan is a very talented musician, artist, and overall creative, and he is on a mission to use his God-given talents and purpose to inspire others. And today you're not only going to get to hear about his story, we're also going to be talking about 3 essential qualities of a healthy creative lifestyle that you can apply to your everyday life. And those 3 qualities we're going to talk about are purpose, productivity, and peace. But for now, let's get right into it. Jonathan, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for pulling up. So I've listened to your music for about a couple months now. I think at the beginning of quarantine. But for those who don't know too much about your music, can you tell us a little about yourself, your passions, and what you like to create?
Yeah, so my name's Jonathan. I'm living in Manchester in the UK, and I've been making music for maybe like 12 years now. Started when I was a teenager with just my laptop and a little MIDI keyboard, and I've just always been really into like electronic music, but then like a whole range of stuff, like obviously growing up in church as well. I'm a worship leader, and I've always loved that kind of thing. And then I like folk music, I like a whole bunch of different stuff, and so a lot of my music's kind of a mixture of different sounds. So I really like the kind of electronic production, but then I like to bring in like the melodic side of like folk music, and then like try and use it as a way to worship. So a lot of the times I'm like taking things from the Bible, often the Psalms, and then just kind of putting it to some kind of like lo-fi electronic mishmash of genres. But yeah, that's what I do.
Nice, man. I think that's one thing I like about your music. It's so dynamic, so many different styles. I never know what to expect. It was really cool. And so one of the things I want to talk about specifically was one of your, I think you released it about 10 months ago now, but it seems like it's still having a lot of hype, the 24 beat tape. Can you tell us a little about that album?
Yeah. So the beat tape came about, I probably started working on it about 2 years ago. A lot of it was just beats that I was making for like backgrounds of videos and that kind of thing. So like we have a YouTube channel and we just need like beats to go in the background. So I'd make a few tracks, and people started asking me like what the songs were in the background of videos and could they start listening to those. And I'd never really planned on releasing beats like that, but I was like, okay, how could I find a way to actually make this a more meaningful release than just like a collection of beats? Like I want it to be like a real project and have a concept to work around. And so I started thinking about the idea of 24 hours in a day and thinking what it would be like to try and almost like capture that journey of a day in music. And so yeah, it's kind of my interpretation of like the different hours of the day, the way that like for me the morning feels quite chill and like a lot more like open, bright chords, and then it goes throughout the day towards like the evening where it becomes like a bit more moody and atmospheric, and then like in the middle of the night it's really like ambient and like just weird noises and stuff. Yeah, it was kind of my way of capturing that sonically, and I tried to create something where each beat would kind of work on its own if it was in a playlist, but then it would like sit within a whole album as well, so that you could listen to the whole thing through and it would flow from one track to the other. And yeah, I really enjoyed just getting into the process, because what started out as just a way to collect beats became this like bigger journey almost, where I started to read, I think it was Psalm 19. It talks about the heavens declare the glory of God, and it says like day unto day reveals knowledge, and night unto night utters speech. Might be the other way around, but yeah, just like the way that there's something about even the day and the sky that like is speaking something about who God is and like the beauty of his creation, and just kind of learning to recognize that and recognize his presence like everywhere. And that I think often we can limit like our time with God is like our quiet time in the morning, or that time that we're sitting reading the Bible. But it was kind of my journey of realizing that actually God's present in every moment of the day, whether it's like me walking around in the city and just like recognizing his creation and seeing the sky, or if it's just like the more intentional times of spending time with him. And yeah, just realizing that he's very present and learning to recognize that. So it's mostly instrumental, and I think about 9 of the 24 songs have vocals on, and all the vocals kind of are based around that theme of just recognizing God's presence everywhere in the day.
Oh man, you also not only tell a story through the music, but you also have a kind of visualizer. Can you tell us like the process of creating that and all that?
Yeah, so I used to be a graphic designer. That was like my full-time job before I went into music, and so design for me has always been a big part of music as well. Like the combination of visual and audio coming together is probably the thing that excites me the most. And so yeah, even I suppose that's part of the idea with the concept, was like to pick a visual cue to like build the music around. And so yeah, there's things about different hours of the day, like the way the light changes, and like 6 p.m. song is called Golden Hour, and like it's around that time where like the lights shift in and just all the colors change. And I kind of, even when I'm creating a beat, even an instrumental or anything, like I have a visual in my head most of the time. Like I'll start creating something and it brings images to my mind, and I kind of imagine being in a place and a time while I'm trying to create the music. And I'm in my little studio here. I have like a skylight right in the loft, and so a lot of the times I'd try and like make the song at that time of day and just be like looking at the sky up there and like trying to like capture like how does this feel, this like time and these colors, and like trying to like put that into music was a really fun process.
Man, I love it. I got my own album. How can other people check out the song, or where can they go?
Yeah, so my website is jonathanogden.co.uk, and there's a whole like visual like film that I work with a director called John Kim in LA, and he like filmed all these visuals around LA, and there's a merch link in there where you can get the CD and t-shirts and all that stuff.
Alright, so we talked about 24-hour beat tape, talked a little about your story. Now I want to talk to you about the 3 essential qualities of a healthy creative lifestyle, which are purpose, productivity, and peace.
'Cause I was made for more.
Starting off with purpose, what do you believe is your creative purpose? How does knowing that creative purpose then enable you to create purpose?
Yeah, I think purpose is something I'm quite driven by. I think I never want to make music just to like make fun music. I'm always like trying to do something with a reason. And so for me, like my highest purpose and the thing that is most important to me is that I get to worship through the things that I create. And so for me, like whether it's a worship song that you would sing in church or like a lo-fi beat, like it's the same thing for me. It's like I'm doing it for the purpose of like wanting to make something I can give to God and just say like, this is for you. And I see it like the little kids when you come home from school and you've like drawn something and you want to show your parents. It's like I kind of created that way where I want to be kind of childlike and innocent and create something that I can just like show to God and be like, I've made this for you. And so that's like my main purpose. But I'd say secondarily, if that's a word, I want to try and like communicate something of who God is to other people as well. And almost like being a messenger. I kind of see it like God's given us a message and like the gospel of his kingdom and like what he's like, and we get to bring that to the world. And so we can do that in loads of different ways, but as a musician, like my way is music. And so I hope that people listen to the songs and like understand something of God through hearing the song and like connect with him with it. So yeah.
Promise I'll never forsake you, so don't even worry now. You've just gotta let go of trying to be control.
Talking about earlier, you're talking about how you're so aware of like what's around you, you know, creation, nature. How does, you know, being aware of your surroundings help you to stay present in your purpose?
Yeah, I think it's something I've learned a lot more, especially like this day and age. Like I don't know, I have a lot of like screen time and just spend a lot of time like scrolling on my phone and all of this stuff. And like it's kind of funny, I've been trying to think this past year where like every Sunday I call it like no phone Sunday, where I just don't use my phone on Sundays. And I try like, particularly when we weren't in lockdown and we were like going around in the city, it's like so weird to be one of the only people that's not using your phone, and you realize how distracted everyone else is. And like sitting on the train or something, like everyone's got their head down looking at something, and like I feel like I'm the only person like seeing what's happening. I think it was kind of just teaching me to be more aware of what's happening. And there's a song on the beat tape called Listen, and it's probably like the one acoustic song on the whole project, and that's the theme of that song, is like God's speaking things all the time, but are we listening? And like listening could be keeping your eyes open to what's around you and like seeing what's happening, and as well as just like physically being quiet and listening too. But I think a lot of the time we can feel like God's not present or not speaking to us, but it's usually that we're distracted and we're not listening. So I've been like trying to get more into that process of like not rushing so much in life and not being so distracted, and just feeling every 10 seconds I'm not doing something with looking at my phone, and just trying to like be really present and see what's going on around me. So.
Yeah, man, I think that once we're able to be present where we are, that can also help us, to get more ideas and create new things. I think sometimes it can be easy for us to just get busy with life, and just like that can kind of drain our creativity in a way. I feel like once you sit down, I think some of my best ideas are when I'm sitting down just meditating.
Life has got me working hard and making plans.
And moving on to the topic of productivity, I know that you're a solo artist and you're the lead singer of Rivers and Robots, and you have your own creative community, Set Sail. Can you kind of tell us about kind of how you balance those things?
Yeah, always a challenge. So like, I think most creative people I know have a side project or side projects, and I think there's just something in us that's like creatively curious and always wants to be trying new things. And so I do like to start new things off, and even this morning I was like chatting about a new idea that I had and figuring out like, do I even have time to do this? I think for me, I've been learning to, I guess it's kind of purpose as well, but tied into productivity, but learning to just create with intention. And like, if I'm not careful, I can get a little bit workaholic and like just keep running hard, and there's the whole like hustle culture of like, I think we kind of glorify it a little bit, of like stay up till midnight on your laptop and like just grinding out all this stuff and creating content. Like I did that for a long time, and like even on YouTube, like we were doing weekly vlogs and then writing music, and then I had my side project, and then running the Set Sail ministry at the same time. Like it's just a lot going on. I realize you can kind of get into a pressure to like feel like you just have to constantly churn out content, and then after a while like your creative well kind of runs dry, and it's like, well, I don't want to create when I'm not inspired. And so you kind of mentioned it at the last point as well, but I think taking time to get inspiration is so important in creative work, because if you're just constantly like doing output all the time, then I see it like breathing. I see creativity like a breathing thing. Like you have to breathe in to be able to breathe out. Like if I'm constantly breathing out, I'm going to run out of breath at some point, right? So I have to like take that time to just soak things in. Maybe it's just listening to other music, or like reading things, or finding stuff that's going to like become a source that I can then bring out in the things that I create. So a lot of that as well is like real simple stuff. Like as a follower of Jesus, like it's reading the Bible and praying, like taking that time just to sit with God and hear him speak and read those words that then I can like digest and turn into songs later on. So yeah, I think it's always a challenge when you do creative stuff as work, because it is something I enjoy. And so if I'm not careful, I can just like do it all the time and spend a whole day working on it, and then come home and carry on doing it. And it doesn't feel like work sometimes, which is a great privilege. But I think the challenge is learning how to rest and know when to take a break from it too. So you can't really be productive if you're just constantly running the grind the whole time. So when to rest and stop is really important.
Feel at peace when I know that you are on my side.
Yeah. So it kind of relates to the topic of peace, just sitting down, relaxing. I like that analogy you said, like it's like breathing in, you breathe in, and then you breathe out. I love that. Can you actually tell us, you mentioned Set Sail. Can you tell us what Set Sail is?
Yeah, so Set Sail is we call it a creative missions organization. So basically our band Rivers and Robots is a part of Set Sail, and it's kind of the umbrella name that we have for all of the projects that we do. And so the main purpose is, well, we have two purposes. So the first thing is to make Jesus known through creative worship. So that's the music that we make, it's videos on our channel, all kinds of like creative output that we do. And then the second side is that we really want to equip, encourage, and inspire other artists and creators. So we kind of don't want to just build our own thing, but we want to give a platform and give like resource to other people that are around us, because we just see that there's so many other artists, so many creative people around right now that are doing amazing stuff. And we don't just want to build our own name, but we want to actually resource other people and teach the things that we've learned. So we do real practical stuff like workshops or tutorials through YouTube, and just trying to invest in other artists and create playlists and platforms and tell other people's stories and yeah, kind of put a bit of fire behind this kind of movement that's going on right now with the creative community. So.
I love it. Y'all truly creative to inspire.
And let pour it down on me. Suddenly.
So I just got 2 more questions for you, man. So the first question is kind of like a scenario question. You are given 24 hours to travel anywhere in the world right now in order to have a productive, purposeful, also peaceful time. Where would you go and why?
Okay. I mean, if I had time travel, not that I do, but I would go to Japan because that's been my like most inspiring place that I've been. But it would take me most of those 24 hours to get there, so I'd have to like get there real quick.
And so how come? Why Japan? Why Japan?
I think it's been one of those places I've wanted to go since I was a kid. Probably just from being like a geek and watching anime and playing video games. But I think I finally got the time to go about 3 years ago, and it just blew my mind because it was such a, like, one, it's just a beautiful place. 2, it's like creativity is almost embedded in the culture there in a way that I haven't seen in other places. Like there's such a appreciation for art and beauty and like craftsmanship and everything. And yeah, I just found that really inspiring. And also it's just like the most wildly just crazy diverse place, like especially Tokyo. Like all these little districts have their own kind of style. Like you can go to one part and this is like the music district, and this one's like the art zone and the anime zone, and like just everything has its own little like flavor and style, and you can experience like so much and so many different things in like one city, which is just, yeah, I love it.
Last question for you is, what does the phrase create to inspire mean to you?
Yeah, I think it's very similar to like our vision in that sense with like Set Sail 2. And so I think creativity does have a way of inspiring people. I think it's part of like the power of art. Like art's a language almost. It's a way of communicating something that kind of hits on a even more emotional level than some other ways of communicating. And I think there's something about when you create something that's really like pushing boundaries and it's like pioneering something, like it provokes other people as well and inspires other people in a way that they feel like, oh, I could do that too. Or like yeah, it's more than just your own thing. Like I always share this with, you know, people sometimes get nervous about the songs that they write or the things that they create, like, should I share this stuff? And I'm like, absolutely share it if you feel comfortable doing it, because there's probably someone out there that like needs this song, or like this will bless someone that you don't even know, and the thing that you create might just inspire that person to like do that thing. And it's like chain reaction kind of goes on, and like creativity inspires more creative people and they inspire more creative people, and that's how we see like movements happen. And just like, yeah, I think it's a beautiful expression and an amazing way of communicating something. So.
Well, thank you so much, Jonathan, for pulling up to the Create to Inspire Corner. Had a blast talking with you, learning about your story, 24 beat tape, and also purpose, productivity, and peace. Also, once again, how can they support you, yourself as a solo artist? And you have an Instagram page, YouTube page. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, you can find me on @Jonathan Ogden Music on Instagram, or jonathanogden.co.uk is my website. So everything should be on there.
Well, thank you so much for you guys at home. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Anyways, hope you guys have a creative and positive day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Create to inspire. Peace.
I wish I could fly.